Hey everyone, it's Erin with Hail Varsity. I am joined by Greg, recruiting extraordinaire, also of Hail Varsity, and we are back for another recruiting question of the week. It is very hot and humid in Nebraska right now, so it is officially summer, which might, you might think, hey, this is the time for recruiting to slow down, but that is absolutely no further from the truth. In fact, it's a very busy time. Greg, how are you?
I am okay. We're hanging in there, but this is my season though. Not only because it's recruiting season, but because the hot weather, or like you can't go outside without sweating. Like this is my time. I love it. I'm here for all of this. Sorry, guys.
It is very warm. We won't dive into weather talk. That's not why you are all here, because the question of this week, which is a remix of questions that Greg has received already, so it's kind of just playing off of things that you've already asked but still has remained unanswered, which is, Greg, which remaining uncommitted in-state prospect is the biggest need for Nebraska now?
Yeah, so this is interesting because it's a banner year for in-state recruiting, as we've talked about a lot here for the 2023 cycle. You have 8 prospects from the state that have Nebraska offers. 4 of them already committed, which is good news for Nebraska. 4 still remain uncommitted. There's a pair of them that we're kind of unsure about where either things stand between them and Nebraska or Nebraska and them. So Benny Ngoy, the Lincoln High athlete, has begun taking official visits. He has a Nebraska offer. He took a visit to Washington 2 weeks ago, Iowa State the weekend before. He does not have one set for Nebraska yet, so kind of unsure there. And I think Nebraska's maybe kind of in wait and see mode there. The other player is Cade McIntyre, who Nebraska, it's funny, it depends on who you talk to on this one. Nebraska either offered him late or, they were right on time in their evaluation. I tend to think, after talking with him, that he thinks that Nebraska offered him late, which is all that really matters in the situation. He was at Oklahoma this past weekend and has a slew of other official visits lined up. And as I've written on hailvarsity.com after talking to him, I don't think Nebraska is going to get an official visit from Cade McIntyre, which will be a blow. But Nebraska has other prospects at that position. It's kind of that edge rushers where they saw him at, that they can go. So this really comes down to 2 different players that have been talked about quite a bit in this class. Malachi Coleman, the 4-star out of Lincoln East athlete, and then the edge rusher from Elkhorn South, Maverick Noonan. If you're going to make me decide, and that is the question.
I'm glad that you already are answering it, because I was going to make you decide.
Yeah, like if you're going to make me do this, I'm going to go with Maverick Noonan by a hair. Now, hear me out. I understand that Malachi Coleman is a top 100 player on some services, and probably by the time it's all said and done with this class, he'll be top 100 on every service, right? In a consensus 4-star. But if Nebraska likes him at wide receiver, and they do, I have faith, and all the faith in the world, that Mickey Joseph, if they missed out on Coleman, would find other wide receivers to come play at Nebraska. I would always feel confident in that, given Mickey Joseph's pedigree. Edge rusher, which is what Maverick Noonan plays, and potentially defensive end, depending on how his career plays out, is a position that has always kind of been tough for Nebraska to recruit, and has been one that is always a high priority for them every single recruiting cycle. So because of that and his upside, I'll go with Maverick Noonan in a very tight race, but you really can't go wrong either way.
It would be interesting. I'm curious, for those of you who are watching, if you had to make your pick, let us know in the comments if you agree or if you would have picked differently. I'm always kind of curious. I don't think I even needed to ask. I think people will just sound off regardless, but
Right.
I am inviting you to either agree or disagree with Greg, is what I am saying.
Uh-oh.
Greg, when it comes to these in-state uncommitted players, is there anything else that people need to know as we go through the rest of summer?
Yeah, I think with those particular 2 guys, it's going to be interesting to see where they visit, right? As Maverick Noonan was scheduled, he had told me this after his visit to Nebraska last week, that he was scheduled to go to Iowa on June 10th weekend. That visit did not happen. It is unclear whether or not that visit will be rescheduled. His visit to Stanford will happen. So I think Nebraska is probably at this point most closely battling Stanford, but we'll see if Iowa can work him in sometime in June. Malachi Coleman has a visit scheduled to Michigan, and I think that's it right now. But he did say in kind of his roundtable press conference situation that he would save a visit or 2 for in season, which will make things even more interesting, which will keep Husker fans on pins and needles throughout the season for that recruitment that feels like it's going to go all the way to the end. I think Maverick Noonan will decide this summer. I think that's his intention. But Malachi Coleman, that was going to go through the season, I think.
Lots to watch and lots to keep an eye on. And we know how much Husker fans are especially dedicated to in-state prospects. So a lot to just be aware of. So if you want to know more about this particular topic, you can actually head to the Recruiting Notebook this evening, 6 p.m. Central at hailvarsity.com. You can always check out the Recruiting Notebook every night. Well, not every night. It does take 2 nights off, I guess, every week. But Sunday through Thursday, 6 p.m. Central at hailvarsity.com. Greg dives into a lot of these topics, especially when it comes to some of these in-state players. And like I said, tonight's notebook will dive into this particular topic further. So go ahead. It's appointment reading. Go ahead and bookmark that. Subscribe to Hail Varsity while you're at it. We would love to have you. But if you also haven't subscribed to this YouTube channel, be sure to do that as well. Greg, any final thoughts before I let you go?
Yeah, I think as I've been joking with you guys in the comments about it, in-state recruiting and offensive line talk, you guys are always here for that, and we appreciate it.
Somebody's already saying, let's talk offensive line. So
there
I
are 3 offensive linemen from the state that are in the class already, and at least 1 more coming. I will go ahead and kind of stymie that talk now.
Look, I will say it's not just YouTube. Facebook also, our Facebook comments also typically talk about offensive line recruiting as well. So they are not alone. People are very much, you can't run the ball if you don't have a strong line up front. I hear you. So we'll have to dive into that further another week, but keep those conversations going. We do appreciate hearing from you. And like I said, if you haven't subscribed to this YouTube channel, please do. If you know somebody else who hasn't, send it to them and have them subscribe. We'd love to have them as well. Follow Greg at Greg Smith HV at Hail Varsity, and you can tweet questions there as well. We'll be back next week with even more. Greg, thank you as always for your time.
Thank you.